You know logically that something needs to change. You know logically you need to do something different. You know logically that you need to have self care. You know logically, you know all of this logic and these details and these ideas, but it hasn't produced anything because you're trying to figure out, how do I build up my motivation to actually change the circumstance that I'm in? Because Ben, when I look at this circumstance, it looks awful. Like, I see how much it's going to cost me over the next 2 years doing this. I see how it's going to impact my kids making this decision to divorce him. I see how it's going to impact me with his rage, with everything that comes out. I don't know if I can actually do this. How do I motivate myself to actually have a difference? How do I motivate myself to actually focus on myself, to actually grow who I am? Maybe this is because you've been so used to saying yes to everyone else that you don't realize that you've been saying no to yourself this entire time. This whole aspect of you valuing everybody else above you is great, but at the same time, it doesn't work if you devalue yourself every single day. The negative self-talk, the things that you do to put yourself down, and then he comes in home at night and he validates every single thing that you've been telling yourself. It's no wonder that you're in a pit. It's no wonder that you're struggling, that you're crawling at the sides, trying to figure out, how do I get out of the pit that I'm in, wondering, this is it, this is all I have, this is all I'm stuck. I want to have this motivation, but I feel like I don't have anything at all. And the hard part is people are looking for motivation, and you can find a lot of motivational videos on YouTube that excite you, that ramp you up, that amp you up inside, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to go do this run. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go focus on me. I'm going to go do self-care. And then you don't. And you look at this and you think, well, I've been looking at all this motivation. I've been figuring all this stuff out. I've been learning so many different things. Why don't I have the motivation to change? Do you feel like this? Motivation is great. But motivation requires something to continue moving forward. And what I want you to consider is that motivation needs to have momentum. It needs to have this movement that's already going. It's easy to be excited about something that's already happening. It's hard to get exciting about something that hasn't happened and that you have no clue if it ever will happen. An idea, a thought, just an abstract thinking of something. Like, it's like, how is it? Can you get excited about that? Yeah, you can. But being able to get motivated about something, to actually have change, have a produced change behavior, have things that are showing up different, you to actually transform, motivation isn't going to get you there. Because if I hype you up, you're going to be like, this is amazing. And then you'll leave, and then you'll still be stuck, and then you'll still be trapped in the toxic relationship, and then you'll be like, yeah, his stuff doesn't work. Well, yeah, because if it was just motivational, then it doesn't do shit for you. You can watch all the motivational videos in the world, but if you don't actually do something about it, it doesn't matter. You might have heard the phrase, like, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power if it's actioned on. But you just sitting there and having all the knowledge in the world doesn't help your life, doesn't help your results, doesn't help you grow and develop, and it doesn't produce a change in your behavior or self-care or transformation inside of you because there's not a momentum that's happening. I might be thinking, like, momentum, that's kind of a weird word to be able to go to for motivation. Well, yeah, because momentum requires something before it. You cannot have momentum unless you have, that's right, movement. Movement is the only thing that will trump motivation. Movement is the only thing that will trump motivation. Because motivation does not guarantee action. Movement is action. So consider for a moment, you have this New Year's resolution. You're like, I'm going to go to the gym. This is going to be my New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose the extra 20 pounds that I put on in the toxic relationship, and I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free of all this weight. And so you start off, begin the year, and you're super excited, and you sleep in. You forget to go. Life gets busy. He files another suit against you. There's a whole lot of things that just add weight and stress onto you. You don't actually follow through. You break agreements with yourself. You start to beat yourself down even more. You start to wallow in self-pity. You move into a place of shame and discouragement, and you're left stuck. That's the norm. And then you think, I just want to be motivated to actually focus on me. I want to be motivated to get better. I want to be motivated to lose this weight. But none of that matters until there's movement. So until you actually get up and go to the gym like you said you would, all the motivation won't help. Now you can think, well, I need to get motivation so I get the movement. And that's great as long as there's movement. Because if there's not movement, nothing matters. When I coach people and I work with people on a day-to-day basis, I will sit with you in the feelings. I will sit with you in the shit that you're going through. I will talk to you about it. We will work through it. We will talk about your feelings. But the thing is, I will not leave you there. And I will also not let you stay there without there being an action plan to move you through it. Just talking about your feelings is not enough. Talking about your emotions is not enough. Talking about the story you're telling yourself is not enough. It all has to have something that changes. There has to be movement behind it, because if you do not take action, nothing changes at all. If you have all the motivation, you watch all the motivational videos about going to the gym and you don't go to the gym, you're still not going to lose the weight. You're still going to be stuck at the same exact place, body shaming, putting yourself down, because that's what he did and you're used to that, and you continue this abuse even after you've left him. So when we're looking for this piece of motivation and this excitement, like rah, rah, let's go, let me actually work on myself, doesn't do anything unless you make a consistent effort of actually moving. Taking one step at a time to grow you. Inside of one of our coaching calls, there was a girl that was struggling with her finances. It was a piece that was really holding her back mentally. It's like she had a lot of just brain fog, a lot of confusion. And in the moment, I sat with her and she kept wanting to go into feelings and she kept wanting to go into emotions. And we sat with it for a minute and then I kept pulling her out of it. I was like, what do you need to do? Okay. When do you need to do this? Okay. How are you going to do this? When will you know this is done? Creating an accountability structure and actions that came out of it. And it was interesting because I had someone else in the group that contacted me later and they were like, I felt like you didn't handle that very well. I was like, okay, tell me more. She's like, I felt like you didn't handle it well because you didn't really deal with the trauma and the emotions that she was struggling with in that moment. I was like, I get that. I can see that. But I had to be able to let her know that just dealing with the emotions in the moment wouldn't have produced a different result. Because she had no facts. She didn't know her own budget. She had no clue the money that was coming in and out. And I was like, until we actually know that, we can't base any of our feelings off of anything. So we have no facts. And the girl that was struggling with her finances contacted me about 2 days later because we'd set up a time of her to contact, of her to say that her budget was done, all of these things. We'd laid it out step by step. She said, thank you. She's like, I was so stuck that I couldn't see this. Now that I see this, I actually see I'm going to be okay. I just didn't feel like I was okay. I didn't see this. But now that I've written it all out, I'm good. Thank you so much. You see, inside of what we're doing here, it's this piece that has to be able to create action in your life. You can have the motivation for self-care, but until you actually book the appointment, book the trip, book the things that you need to do, it doesn't matter. This is why when I work with people, I get commitments. Not commitments to me, commitments to you. You say, I want to start doing self-care. Okay, how are we going to do that? Well, I want to start going to the gym. Okay, do you have a gym? No. Okay, have we researched a gym? No. Do you know a gym? Yes, I know a gym. All right, when are you going to go to the gym? I'm going to go this day. All right, we're going to sign up? Yeah, we're going to sign up. When are we going to start? Okay, when are we going to block this off? When's it going to fit in your schedule? You're like, that's a whole lot of questions. Yeah, I get it. Because if I don't get you to put this on your schedule, you won't do it. A lot of my coaching, when it comes down to it, is retraining you to actually value you. Because the guy that you've been with for such a long time has made you feel awful, has made you feel like shit, has made you feel like you don't matter. And as a result, you start to tell yourself that you don't matter. And one of the biggest ways you tell yourself that you don't matter is by your schedule. I can tell how much you focus on your growth and your self-development if it's on your schedule. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Brendon Burchard. I remember him telling that once. He can tell your priorities based on what's on your schedule. The thing is, many of you would never dream of not showing up on time to work. You haven't missed a day in years. You haven't missed a day in going to church. You haven't missed a day in showing up for this event or that event. But you showing up for you, yeah, that hasn't been happening. And I'm not saying that to belittle you. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm saying it to wake you up. You create everything else to be a priority but you. We have to be able to create you a priority, which means we have to actually bring you from the place of motivational rah-rah talk to building momentum that all comes down to actually you having movement. This is a piece of reliability, consistency, and continual growth. And so we get to a place of actually having this every single day that you show up for you, your confidence level skyrockets. The clarity and the focus you have skyrockets. Your certainty skyrockets. Because you start to realize the value that you have that's not dependent on anyone else. And the motivation that you need for changing your life and changing you starts by the daily repetition of you taking movement and you taking action for you, even if it's one tiny small step every single day.